Welcome to See You on the Other Side, where the world of the mysterious collides with the world of entertainment. A discussion of art, music, movies, spirituality, the weird, and self-discovery. And now, your hosts, musicians and entertainers who have their own weakness for the weird, Mike and Wendy from the band Sunspot.
Season's greetings.
Merry Christmas, Wendy.
Merry Christmas, Mike. It's that time of year. It's the holiday episode.
It is that time of year, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it because it's not a white Christmas.
No, strange for Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
this time of year.
It's usually very white, very cold. This year, however, it's just a little bit cold, and it's gonna be like a green Christmas here.
It is,
and that's kind of nice.
It is. I mean, I went running the other day, and it was sunny out. It was extremely windy, but. Mm-hmm. It was sunny out, and I was looking around going, you know, the grass is really green.
Yeah.
Usually it's brown and dead by now, but...
It was about 50 degrees on, this week.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. I feel like it's like a Tennessee Christmas or something.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
And then I think about the people in Florida or whatever, like northern Florida, when I'm like, why?
Every year?
I wouldn't complain about that.
No, I'm all right with
all right with that
the
too.
delay of the snow.
So everybody in the Midwest looking for a white Christmas, we apologize for that, but we'll try to make it up for you with all of our Christmas cheer and spirit.
Ho ho ho!
In this episode, Wendy, you have a lot of Christmas cheer and spirit, didn't you?
Thanks.
Didn't you just win a contest?
I did.
A Christmas contest.
I won an ugly sweater contest last night.
Okay.
So I went to a party and it was an ugly sweater party, which is now the thing.
Yeah, everybody loves ugly sweaters.
It's all the rage. And so I decided, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all out. So I dug through my Christmas bin and I took every bit of like decoration and so it wasn't just the sweater, it was kind of the full thing to give it more, to give it 110%.
All right. So did you have like a Rudolph nose and stuff like that?
I didn't have the Rudolph nose, but
scarf.
Yeah, I had some garland that I made bracelets out of, and I took some lights that were battery powered, LED lights, and I used those for a belt. And what else? I had like a jingle bell necklace and some candy cane earrings.
Okay, so you had a full Christmas thing.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was nice to have people like just in a good mood and eating cookies and drinking holiday cheer.
Yeah, and they were drinking. And where was it at?
It was at Yahara Bay Distillery. Which is,
and so they make whiskey and stuff like that.
They do.
And they make Rocker
Spirits.
Vodka, which has sponsored some of our events.
Yeah, they make all kinds of spirits.
Yes.
Which is appropriate for Christmas because, all the Christmas music that's been on.
Yeah.
There's so many weird songs.
What do you think is the weirdest?
Well, I always think of, and I understand the Dickens reference and whatnot, but like it's the most wonderful time. The part where it's like, there'll be scary ghost stories. Who tells scary ghost stories?
Ghost stories at Christmas. We actually talk about it in our episode from last year.
Oh, that's right.
On Christmas ghost stories.
Oh man.
So, but we tell those stories, Wendy.
Okay, you're right. We do, but I don't know if the average person. So that song was written for us.
Yes, it was.
How lovely. Us and our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which reminds me, real quickly.
Yeah.
To the listeners. If you are ever looking for the show notes for this podcast, just go to othersidepodcast.com/71.
That's this episode. It's at number 71.
But whatever the number of the episode is. So I realize we haven't been talking about that much in the past few episodes.
So go through the show notes and you can just go number by number and you can look through if you're missing something. And in each episode, at least for about the past, 20, 25, it pretty much gives you all the information in the podcast in the thing. So if you don't have time to listen,
yes,
and you just want to learn more about a topic,
right,
then you can do that by going to othersidepodcast.com/number.
Or if you're exercising or driving or something and you miss part of it, you can always go back. But Mike does a very thorough job on the show notes, so they're definitely worth checking out, I think.
Right. Well, you try to make it so that you have something to read as well as listen to.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's information that's not even in the podcast, but extra stuff.
Ooh,
so
bonus.
It's kind of like a deeper reading. You can find that. And we linked up a whole bunch of stuff too. So if you want to spend all day on a topic, You can start at that topic and then you can go from there. Like today, I would say for this particular episode, there's going to be 20 links that you can check out and read into if you're looking for some deeper research into the monsters of Christmas.
And why would you not want to research deeper on that topic?
People don't realize that's my favorite part of Christmas. I think, first of all, I mean, winter's depressing. And that's why they moved the Christmas celebration to winter, because really they thought that Jesus was born in September.
Oh, that's right.
So when they were Christianizing Europe, everybody already had like a winter solstice celebration. The winter solstice is today, Monday, December 21st.
Yeah, that's right.
So they had a solstice celebration, and it was known as the Yule. And so that's where we get the Yuletide is the solstice time.
And the Yule log.
And you burn the Yule log. And the thing is that when they were Christianizing Europe, the missionaries wanted to have something to, the people were going to celebrate anyway.
I see. So they want to piggyback on the
right.
fun.
They're like, you know what? They're going to do this because people aren't going to give up a party just because they get a new god or whatever. So what they do is like, okay, guess what? It's the time we party for Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
So we're going to change this Yule celebration from your pagan stuff to Jesus' birthday. Let's do it. And so that's why we celebrate Christmas in December.
And Festivus.
And right. That's right.
It's
in
the
Festivus.
same thing.
Yeah, pretty close. The Festivus celebration, the Costanza celebration. So I love that part about it. But that some of these pagan traditions still like went through into all of these ideas that there were monsters out there, and that the veil between this world and the next world was a lot thinner because it's dark all the time.
Ah, okay.
And so they kind of kept with these things even though the countries became Christianized. And
the solstice is the shortest daylight day of the year, right?
Yes.
The winter one. So
if you're in a place like Iceland, which we'll talk about Iceland today, then it's going to be dark basically the whole time.
Oof.
Or the northern parts of Alaska, the Arctic Circle and stuff like that. It's going to be dark basically the whole time. So no wonder they have monsters at Christmas, because that's darkness
Scary.
is when the monsters are out. And if you're if you're in Scandinavia or something, and it's 20 hours of darkness.
Yeah.
It's a pretty scary.
And if they only come out at night, but night is the majority.
Right, don't worry, the monsters only come out at night. Oh, and I forgot to say,
it's always night.
It's night forever. Oh God! Did you see that 30 Days a Night movie?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'm not spoiling anything here. It's a pretty good movie. It's about 8 or 9 years old now, and it's about a town in Alaska that vampires come to because it's dark for like a month.
Oh, perfect.
So then vampires can stay out and do whatever they want, and they don't have to
party
worry
all the
about
time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are really nasty vampires. Like they don't.
Okay.
They're not like Lestat or whatever, where they're all kind of just Eurotrash or just have funny accents or just want to suck on your neck a little bit. Like these
Lost
monsters.
Boys.
No, the Lost Boys are at least kind of fun. They look like they're having fun. These vampires just look like all they want to do is eat people. Like they just suck your blood and kill you.
I don't like those vampires.
No, you don't. And so 30 Days a Night is a pretty scary movie, and it's all about that kind of.
Ah, okay.
If you're in the Arctic Circle and it's dark for a long time.
Ooh, and we have friends up there.
We do have friends up there.
So we actually know people who could be
attacked by vampires right now at the darkest time of the year. So watch out. Make sure that you're eating your garlic so you can breathe on them. I did today. I had a couple of cloves.
Did you?
Just before you came.
Oh, super.
Sure.
Thanks, Mike. Great.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd make the studio.
You're protecting both of us.
Yeah, I think it's important. We're talking about these things and it gets dark very early.
That's true. It's already starting to get dark.
Right, the shortest day of the year. So, last year we covered Krampus.
Yeah, and he got real popular this year.
Krampus got hugely
There's a movie
popular.
about Krampus now.
Yeah, so Krampus is like a big deal. He doesn't even remember us.
I know.
He doesn't
the
even
little
say,
people. Come on.
Remember when, Krampus? Like, we used to be pals.
Right.
And now that you're in Hollywood.
Suddenly,
Yeah,
forget about us.
No, I saw him like, I saw him and he was at Starbucks with like Jake Gyllenhaal or something like that. And they were picking up like their lattes or whatever in Christmas
Right.
cups and the whole deal.
Yeah.
And so so he's hanging out with celebrities and he's doing that kind of thing. And he just doesn't have time for people like us anymore. that we still think about him. So I mean, Krampus is right now the most famous Christmas monster.
Yeah.
And if you missed our episode on Krampus, basically Krampus is the guy that punishes children. It's Austrian tradition.
That's right.
And he's like a Christmas demon.
Yeah.
And we'll link to that in the show notes, and you can check that out and listen for some in-depth.
Yeah, there is actual history there.
Behind
That's
it.
pretty interesting.
Yeah, and then I haven't seen the movie yet.
I haven't either.
But I plan on it. We'll report back next Christmas on whether the Krampus movie
That's
was any
right.
good.
That sounds good.
But there's a whole bunch of other monsters at Christmas. And I mean, these are mostly European. Like, so Christmas here, I mean, I guess Saint Nick gave me coal one year because I was bad.
Really?
Oh yeah, like I got coal to let me know that I've been bad, like a lump of coal in my stocking.
How bad what did you do?
I don't know, probably talk back to my mother or
Naughty Mike.
didn't obey my parents or whatever.
You were
So,
bad.
I mean,
did that give you enough time to change your ways before Santa?
yes.
Okay.
It did. So
Gotcha.
that was kind of
like
the
a warning flare.
If you don't start
Shape
acting
up.
and behaving a little better, then Santa's not going to bring anything.
Wow.
Santa's going to bring you some coal too.
Man.
So, did you ever get punished by Santa Claus?
No, I always got candy in we put our shoes out for St. Nick's and always got candy in that and gifts.
Well, you must have been a good little girl.
I was a good little girl. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Tried anyway.
Well, I was not a good little girl.
I don't know honestly, like that threat of getting coal or not getting gifts, as often as it was used, I never knew anyone who actually had it delivered.
I got some coal for St. Nick's Day. Not on Christmas, not on actual Christmas. I changed my ways.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good.
Shaped up, stopped misbehaving.
Stopped sassing back.
But the thing is, like, okay, so I got coal when I wasn't a good boy. Well, some of these other guys deliver things a little bit more intense than coal.
Okay, so now we're getting into monster territory here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can start with this French guy. And you know French better than I do, Wendy.
Mais oui, bien sûr.
I know very little. But Père Fouettard, I don't know if that's how you say
Not
it.
bad.
Okay. His name translates to Father Whipper.
Whoa, I was wondering. I didn't recognize that. The Fouettard.
Yeah, it means whipper. So I don't know what kind of French
didn't
people
learn that in French class.
you've been hanging around with, but I recommend to hanging out with someone who can teach you the whipping.
Father Whipper.
The most popular story about Father Whipper, it was first told in 1150. So it's a local butcher who captures three boys that appear to be wealthy, well-to-do, rich little boys. And along with his wife, he kills the children in order to rob them.
Oh, who kills kids?
Father Whipper does.
But he was an actual person, though.
Well, this is the legend.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And so, in one of the versions of the story, he drugs the children, slits the throats, cuts them into pieces, and then stews them in a barrel. And so Saint Nick hears about this. He discovers the crime, and he resurrects the children. So it's got a happy ending. So Saint Nick brings them back to life. And after this, Father Whipper repents, says, I'm really sorry. I killed these kids to rob them. And then he becomes Saint Nick's partner.
Oh, okay.
So that's like his rehabilitation.
Huh.
And in another version, like Saint Nick, he captures the father, or Père Fouettard, and forces him to become his assistant. So he like enslaves the father.
Okay. I'm trying to think who that reminds me of. It harkens a different story that I was...
Well, there's a couple of different ones that are much like Saint Nick seems to be really good at capturing demons.
Okay. Like the sidekick. Oh, I know. In the Name of the Wind. The
Bast.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And if you guys haven't read In the Name of the Wind yet, or
do it right now.
The Name of the Wind. Sorry.
Press pause. Go to the library.
Pick it up. Written by a fine Wisconsin author from Stevens Point. You're gonna really enjoy that. If the third book ever comes out, which we'll find out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry, sidetrack.
No, but that is kind of like that. How Kvothe captures Bast in The Name of the Wind.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he beats kids who are bad. So like I said, I get a bunch of coal. Well, imagine if they're like, well, Father Whipper's coming. Father Whipper's coming, and if you're bad, he's gonna beat you.
You're gonna get your butt kicked.
Yeah. And
wow, that's kind of a harsh.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's
getting
the
kids to
thing.
behave.
Yeah.
like-
Well, I mean, this is a more savage time. I mean, we're talking about the Middle Ages here, when the legend is created, and so they had they had a lot of less time. There was less timeouts. You didn't get a timeout in the Middle Ages. You got beaten.
Oh, man.
And so, in some French popular culture, he shows up. There's a song about Santa Claus's daughter. And that's about the son of Father Whipper has a crush on Santa Claus's daughter. So that sounds kind of nice, like they get together.
Interesting.
There's a restaurant in Paris named Le Père Fouettard. So
really?
the
With that
Father
name?
Whipper, yep.
Cool.
And there's a piano piece that's about this other character that's like Father Whipper named Knecht Ruprecht.
Okay.
Or actually, Knecht Ruprecht is played one time. He's brought up on The Office. Dwight dresses up like him at a
funny.
Christmas party.
That's hilarious.
And they call that piano piece sometimes by this character's name. So, how can I forget? There's even a cologne named after. Oh yeah, by a place called the Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, which they create perfume oils, and his evokes sense of coal dust, black licorice, and whip leather.
I was gonna say, like, if you smell that, you better run.
Right.
Like,
If you smell Pierre Fouettard coming, you better
Run away.
get out of town. And so that's just, I mean, Christmas monsters like Krampus, sure, but all over Europe they had these different ones.
and that one's more of an actual human,
Yes, it's
just a really mean, horrible.
yeah. Well, it's a guy that committed
Abusive
a
dude.
horrible crime.
Yeah.
And then
So that makes him extra scary because
right, because it's like, oh, he was
he
a
kills
person.
kids.
He's not just a demon. Like he was a person that killed kids.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings us to our next one, and Frau Perkta.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frau Perkta, she does the same kind of thing that Father Whipper does. And she is more like in the upper German regions of the Alps. Okay, so this whole area, like everybody seems to have their own monster. Some of the things I like that Frau Perkta does is if you're naughty, she will disembowel you and replace your insides with garbage.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Yeah. So these guys, I mean,
Who even like came up with that?
well, the thing is there was an old pagan goddess that lived in the mountains as well. And they said that she created the snow.
Okay.
So she would punish children in the pre-Christian times and also was the one that brought the snow every winter. So she was the witch.
Okay.
And so this witch would tear out your insides and replace them with trash.
Oh gosh.
I know. And so, Frau Perkta is in Grimm's fairy tales too. So
Oh, I love Grimm's fairy tales.
yeah. And so she has one large foot, sometimes called a goose foot or a swan foot.
Okay.
And Jacob Grimm, from the Grimm's fairy tales, thought the strange foot symbolized her being a higher being who could shapeshift to animal form. And she roams the countryside at midwinter and enters home between the 12 days of Christmas, between Christmas and the Epiphany. So that's the traditional time between Christmas Eve and January 6th, the 12 days of Christmas. And she would know whether the children and young servants of the household had behaved well and worked hard all year. And if they had, they might find a small silver coin the next day in a shoe or a pail. And if they had not, well, then it's time for garbage in your guts.
That's extortion.
She was particularly concerned to see that girls had spun the whole of their allotted portion of flax or wool during the year. So she wanted to make sure that the clothes were finished. Okay, and that's one of the first. We will talk about clothes being finished again.
Okay.
When we talk about the Icelandic Yule cat.
So she wanted to make sure that the sweatshops were operating fully.
Well, or that everybody had. Yeah, she's huge in Vietnam. Frau Perkta is all over Vietnam, finding them, making sure that people finish their.
But the kids, they're kids. Like,
Right.
she's cracking the whip on them, making them.
But the kids used to have to make their own clothes, and when wintertime comes, and if the clothes aren't ready,
You freeze.
it's going to be a cold winter. So Frau Perkta was there to make sure that everybody, number one, behaved, and number
Yeah.
two, had clothes ready for a
Took care of their basic needs.
yeah for a cold winter
Okay.
in the Alps.
Huh. Because she's
And-
going to make it snow.
Yeah. Like she's like, you better have your. I'm gonna bring the snow.
I'm gonna bring it.
I'll bring you the snow. So bundle up, and if you don't, well, you know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna slit your belly open like Luke slit open the tauntaun and slept inside of it, inside of Empire Strikes Back. Hey, it's a Star Wars reference
I know.
for Star Wars week.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't even mention that sooner, but.
Well, we talked about it last week, how the Star Wars...
You were sick of it.
All over Facebook.
But now I just want to see it.
I know,
and I didn't get tickets yet, so it's probably going to be a month before I can even get a ticket.
Well, of course, I love Star Wars and I really want to see it, and I'm excited about it. You know, thinking about the tauntaun, I've been trying to sell those things for my mother.
Oh, right. Any success?
No success whatsoever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
People didn't want an original Yoda in the box from Empire Strikes Back, at least at the price that I started at. So I might go back and try to relist some things. But it made me think of, because she sent me a picture of the tauntaun. And so the Star Wars tauntaun that you would get, actually, you could open up its belly.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
that's
had a
so cool.
space to open up
That's great.
to put Luke inside.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I mean, he disemboweled
At least
him.
you're putting a Luke in there and not a bunch of garbage.
Not a bunch of garbage. So you can be your own Frau Perkta with your Empire Strikes Back toys. Okay. And I don't know why German-speaking Europe is where all the terror happens.
You're right. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think of Germans as particularly cold. That would be saved for the Scandinavian countries.
Oh, nice.
But we always do think of them as harsh disciplinarians.
True.
You know?
That work ethic and...
Right. The German, when people think of Germans as a cruel people. Well... And when they got people like Knecht Ruprecht, and you got people like Krampus, and you got people like Belsnickel. Okay.
Belsnickel?
Yeah. Belsnickel is a crotchety, fur-clad Christmas gift bringer in the folklore of southwestern Germany along the Rhine, and also in some Pennsylvania Dutch communities. So Belsnickel even showed up.
Wow. Made it over the ocean.
Made it over the United States. So he's a man wearing furs and sometimes a mask with a long tongue.
Ew.
I don't know why. I mean, like Gene Simmons or something like that. Like, yeah, check this out. He is...
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, right. He's typically very raggy and disheveled. He wears torn, tattered, and dirty clothes, and he carries a switch in his hand with which he beats naughty children.
Whoa.
But he also has a pocket full of cake, candies, and nuts for the good one. In Austria, he's accompanied by Krampus. So they can show up together. Sometimes Belsnickel and Krampus.
I like that. I like that idea.
Will show up. No, he doesn't show up with Santa Claus.
He's his own.
Yeah, it's like Santa Claus, like St. Nicholas is just like, you know what, Belsnickel, you handle the whipping, and I'll bring the G.I. Joes or
Good
whatever.
cop, bad cop.
Yeah. So he comes alone.
But he has candy and stuff though.
Yeah, because he's
just in case he runs into somebody who's good. Okay.
Yeah, and actually in Allegheny County, Maryland, there's from the 1830s. They talk a little bit about Belsnickel. Said he was known as Kris Kinkle, Belsnickel, and sometimes as the Christmas woman. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess he could change genders at will as well.
Okay.
Children then not only saw the mysterious person, but felt him, or rather his stripes upon their backs with his switch. The annual visitor would make his appearance some hours after dark, thoroughly disguised, especially the face, which would sometimes be covered with a hideously ugly fizz. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up. Generally wore female garb, hence the name Christmas woman.
Okay.
Sometimes it would be a veritable woman, but with masculine force and action. He or she would be equipped with an ample sack about the shoulders filled with cakes, nuts, and fruits, and a long hazel switch, which was supposed to have some kind of charm in it as well as sting. One would scatter the goodies upon the floor, and then the scramble would begin by the delighted children, and the other hand would ply the switch upon the backs of the excited youngsters, who would not show a wince, but had it been parental discipline, there had been screams to reach a long distance. So, they didn't have Santa Claus back in the 1830s in this county in Maryland.
So weird.
But they did have Belsnickel come.
And it's like a trap that he sets out for the kids, and then he whips them.
Yeah, hey, have some candy. Yeah! Slam, you've been bad. Oh, he wouldn't stop crying.
So bad.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
It's really messed up.
Yeah, well, that's how they did things back in the day. And so, anyway, yeah, Belsnickel, as far out to Indiana and stuff like that, he would come out and All right, so that's just a couple. I mean, Christmas monsters, they abound.
Just one quick question on that one. So Bell's nickel, is the Nick in there related to St. Nicholas or derived from that
It's
somehow?
like a bastardization.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Of like they take that and they put him in because it's like, oh yeah, he's kind of like Saint Nick.
But he's like a creepy version
yeah,
that like he didn't quite make it through the transporter with all the molecules back together.
Right, he's all
Like,
raggedy and just beats him. He's like, you know what? List naughty, nice,
Whatever. Bah!
You're naughty. I'm gonna beat you.
You're all naughty.
Yep. So Bell's nickel.
Oh
and,
my gosh.
Yeah. First of all, being a kid in the 1830s in the United States sounds like it was probably crappy already because it's gonna be cold. You don't have like video games.
Yeah, miserable. You know, video games. Oh,
You gotta,
man.
you know, you're
that
like maybe
sucks.
you have a one-room schoolhouse or whatever. You know, when you think about the way we had it as kids, or anybody maybe in the 20th century had it as children, like that's super. Like we had it super easy, and like Santa Claus, like you said, like good little girls didn't even have to worry about lumps of coal or anything like that. Well, nobody escaped the whip of the Bell's nickel.
It's horrible.
Anyway, I love that guy.
But it sounds like they were tough kids though, because they didn't cry.
Right.
Like
That was the point.
You
They
know.
could take it, and they had to be tough because when those pioneer
show
winners and
weakness.
stuff don't show weakness, or you're gonna die in the frontier, child.
right.
Yeah, I wish that what's her name would talk about stuff like that. Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking of when you were saying, you know, we had it so good, and then I was thinking about how, you know, they would get like one piece of peppermint candy from, you know, the candy store, and they'd savor it for weeks, you know, because
Right,
it was such a
so
treat.
excited.
And now we're just surrounded by like
Right. Oh, stuff all the time. Sugar up the
continual.
wazoo.
Yeah.
And as much candy as we want. You know, it's like sometimes
it's
when
an unlimited supply of candy.
So I was buying a Snickers bar the other day, and Snickers is that's my kryptonite.
Really? I thought Reese's peanut butter cups were.
Well, I never feel
Oh, a conflict here.
Yeah. I never feel bad when I eat a Reese's peanut butter cup because I just feel like I'm giving myself a real treat. Snickers is just like, well, I couldn't have dinner.
Oh, you're right, because it has peanuts in it, so therefore it's like protein.
Right. So you think Snickers is like a shameful.
I've done that at work for lunch before.
Yeah. Well, I should probably have a Snickers. So it's like a shameful hobo dinner that I'll have.
Shameful.
And when I do that, you're just like, oh man. But the thing is, lately, I haven't just been buying the Snickers bar because I'll have the
two for one,
or the two Snickers bars in one thing now.
Oh, I know that is.
And you're like, well, it's not really one full size bar. It's like 2 3/4 bars for this price. So I probably should buy the two. And they're always like,
You never save the other one
Right,
for later.
Save
You're
for
like, "Who's gonna do
later.
that?"
Get out of town. Like once the candy bar wrapper has been opened, it is to be consumed.
Exactly.
Because then what happens if what happens?
You know.
Do you tape it shut?
You twist it, but then it comes untwisted, and then it melts.
Right.
It always ends up somewhere where it's gonna melt.
It's chocolate on the car
Right.
seat.
And,
you
or
know-
little bits of chocolate go flying out, and then you find little like brown melted
yeah, little,
chocolate spots
you're like,
all
oh
over
God,
everything.
what's this?
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, did something happen? Yeah. Right. So, no, I'm with you. And so that's why Snickers, I'm just saying we're spoiled.
Candy is everywhere.
I'm trying to get that we're spoiled.
Yes.
Laura Ingalls Wilder was not spoiled.
Omnipresent.
In other generations, they had a little cake and like, oh, I'm so happy with this little cake. And it was accompanied by a beating.
Yeah.
And we have all we want all the time. And so I'm just appreciating the
Enjoy
fact that we can really enjoy that.
Yeah, have a pretzel, Mike.
Like, I will have a little bit. But like Laura Ingalls Wilder, it would get so cold. I mean, she would tell us, like, there's that one thing they talk about, like the cow's tongue being stuck to the ground. You know?
Yeah.
And then the cows would just die.
So horrible.
Like, that's it. Like, well, cows, I mean, so.
It's crazy to think of.
And you have to worry about getting beaten by like scary
Right.
Christmas monsters. So we have another scary Christmas monster.
Okay. Who's next?
Hans Trapp.
Ooh.
So according to the legend, during the 15th century, there's a rich and powerful man who lived in the heart of Alsace. His name was Hans Trapp, and the people of Alsace knew him to be vain, cunning, heartless, and cruel. His life was given over to lawlessness and debauchery. I like him already. And his only goal was to enrich himself by all means necessary. It's said that he worshipped Satan and used black magic and occult rituals to obtain his wealth and hold on to his power. So he was arrested and brought toward the Pope in Rome, excommunicated from the church for the crime of sacrilege. Then he was ostracized by the local people. Everyone fled him as if he was a wild beast. His money and land was confiscated and he was left penniless. Well, forced into exile in the forest and isolated from the rest of society, he lost his mind and spent his days brooding and dreaming of revenge. His anger and resentment were intensified, and he became more deeply devoted to Satan. So when he went mad, he dreamt of eating human flesh.
Ew.
The evil man was obsessed with the desire to bite into the flesh of a human arm, leg, or thigh, and roamed the countryside disguised as a scarecrow by stuffing his ragged clothes with straw. And so he spent his time gathering sticks and hay and lying in wait looking for the perfect victim. Okay? So Hans Trapp captured a 10-year-old boy, and then he was going to kill him and eat him. And as he stared at the young boy, he began drooling at the mouth. And before he knew what was happening, Hans pounced on the boy, attacked him viciously, and ran him through with a sharpened stick.
Ew.
And then he cut him into pieces and ate him over an open fire. So before he was able to actually eat him, God struck him down with a bolt of lightning.
Sweet intervention.
Right, so he came through, struck him down with a bolt of lightning, and now Hans Trapp goes from house to house clad in a scarecrow disguise, scaring the life out of small children and drooling greedily over their tender flesh. So Hans Trapp is coming is like the little warning if you're bad.
Okay, a lot like the other, Père Fouettard.
Yeah, so like they were using that. But the thing is that he was kind of based on a real person.
Yeah.
But the real person was named Hans von Trotha, and is a German knight. He had lived in the area, and he had feuded with the abbot, the local religious person in the 15th century. They'd gone into a feud. They basically fought each other because abbots had political power back in the day, not just religious power. So, and they even had soldiers and things like that that were pledged to them.
Yeah.
So he got in a feud with the abbot and eventually was excommunicated from the church, but actually served as like an ambassador to France for a little while and stuff like that. So even after he was excommunicated. So he didn't really rip apart any children and roast them over an open fire and was not struck dead by a lightning bolt.
But he was a real person, which probably made the threat scarier to kids,
Absolutely.
When their parents are like, oh,
well, and
this guy.
And also when they talk about he only cares about enriching himself and he's a Satanist and he's turned his back on God. So the abbot
demonizing him.
Yeah, the abbot was demonizing him.
Interesting.
To all the townspeople about saying how this guy was such a horrible person. And so it's interesting. But imagine that. Like, you're just a guy, and maybe he was a jerk in real life, because I said he was over 2 meters tall. So he's a big dude. Mm-hmm. And you might scare people already. Like, I don't know anything like that. But the fact is, your legacy is you were remembered as somebody who, like, lays waiting
murders
for
children.
Kids, murders them and eats them.
Brutally.
Right. All this stuff just makes me think of the original, like, the fairy tales and stuff like that.
Yeah. Very much like the grim stuff.
Yeah, like in Cinderella. And we'll have to have an episode on the real fairy tales. But you talk about how Cinderella, like her sisters, like they were cutting off their toes to make their shoes fit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just very gruesome.
Snow White is tortured after she wakes up. Like, all those original tales are just, they're absolutely not for Disney.
Right.
Kind of like, and there was a happy ending. Nope, this guy got struck by lightning and now he'll come to your house. And Hans Trapp will take care of business. TCB.
Right? Kids get boiled in pots all the time in those things. Like,
yeah, they do.
Stuck in ovens and cooked and horrible.
And it's not even just something like, like, oh, Krampus will take you away. Krampus will drag you to hell.
It's right.
You know what we're going to do? You're going to get disemboweled and take out your bowels and put garbage in there.
Yeah, is it really necessary to be that graphic for children?
The kids might have been tougher back then.
That's true.
I'm not scared of that. And then you'd be like, well, yeah, what happens when he slits your belly?
Maybe they were brattier too, so they needed,
Sure, they could have been worse.
Deeper threats for punishment.
Well, they had to be beaten all the time. So what did you say? I mean, what kind of kids are those? So let's move on to a happier monster.
Okay. Good. Yes.
And this one is from South Wales.
Okay.
My Welsh is horribly out there. Excuse me.
Okay.
That was when I went to Wales and Ireland. They have all of the signs in English and in Welsh.
That's
and in
cool.
Gaelic and stuff like that. And so I would always try to pronounce it just in the worst accent possible.
in a very American accent.
Yeah. So I'll do this. Mary Lwyd.
Oh.
Mary Lwyd is, I think, how you pronounce it. Marilwyd. So Mary Lwyd is a hobby horse, and you know what a hobby horse is? It's a horse's head, not a real horse's head, not yet. It's like a fake horse's head attached to a stick.
Oh, right.
So it's like, hey,
kids run around with them and pretend like they're.
It's also a store where you can buy paints for your model airplanes.
Oh, funny.
But so they have the hobby horse and the stick, but the Mary Lwyd is a real horse's skull.
What?
Yeah, and there's a great picture we're looking at right now.
Oh gosh, that's so creepy.
A green Christmas ornament like inside the skull for an eye.
It's really disgusting.
And it's got some ribbons up on the top, and then you put a cloth behind it, and somebody stands under the cloth, and then the hobby horse leads people around. Okay. So, and there's a bunch of dudes, or maybe women now too, but they just say traditionally a group of young men take the Mary Lwyd and run around from like place to place, and they sing songs. The tradition is you sing songs to the people inside the house, and you try to have them let you come in.
With the horse head?
Yeah, the horse's head, I'm sure would come. I mean, everybody's singing the song, but maybe the horse's
it just
head
runs
is
around and dances.
Like
and stuff.
dancing around and
Okay,
stuff like they're not operating it like a little puppet or something like that.
The mouth is
like
sinking along to the words.
Merry Christmas. Oh God, why'd you do that? It's just terrifying. Okay, so the horse's head is open. No. So they're doing that with the horse skull, and then it's like a little song and dance they have back and forth. So the people on the inside have a song too. So a traditional
call
song.
and answer.
Right. It's probably like, "Get lost, you losers," in Welsh. We don't need you to bring your.
Here we come a caroling, and we won't leave until you give us some figgy pudding.
Yeah,
or whatever.
give us that figgy pudding.
Yeah.
And they do that, and then they answer something like, "Oh, leave. We're not going to give you free stuff." And then they do it again, and then eventually the idea is that the people get let in, and then they get some drinks and food and stuff like that. Probably
fun.
get a beer or something.
Yeah. Some wassail.
Yeah. And it's a wassailing folk custom.
Cool.
And
that sounds kind of fun, actually.
Yeah.
We should try it.
Yeah, I think we should, and see if we can get some of that hot mulled cider.
Yummy.
Man, mulled cider sounds good right now.
It does.
Especially hot mulled cider.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking for some anesthetic for my broken tooth, I think.
That might do the job, actually.
That would be.
Or at least help a little.
Well, let me see if I can find a horse's skull around here.
You get the horse's skull, I'll get the sheets.
Great.
And I'll meet you.
Right.
We'll meet you at the corner.
We'll go down the street and see who lets us in.
I bet we'll do really well.
I think so too.
It's kind of like busking, right?
It is a little bit. It's exactly like busking, except we don't usually carry a zombie horse.
Right. Just mixes it up a little.
I thought that was a fun one, and that's a little nice coming off of the child beaters that the rest of them seem to be.
I agree.
It's always threats. Well, we were talking about darkness in parts of the world, and this time of year, and it's the shortest day of the year. Mm-hmm. And so another place that's dark a lot of the time is Scandinavia. They are pretty high up there. And they have a little Christmas tradition of the tomten.
Okay.
And so the tomten looks like a little gnome with like an old man with a beard stuff, and I guess he's cute. But it's supposed to be the spirit of the first person that lived on the farm.
Okay.
So, and traditionally, what they did was they would bury the dead of the family in different mounds on the farm.
Oh,
and so that's where the tomten lived. And he would show up and knock on the door and stuff like that. And he would bring riches to the farm as well. So he was a good luck charm and stuff. And also could do some quote unquote ungodly work, steal things from the neighbors.
Ooh, bad gnome.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that people could be accused of like a witchcraft thing because their tomten, the spirit of their farm. Okay, so let's say the neighboring farm doesn't have a good season and the crops are crap. And so who do you blame it on? And the tradition is and people blame things on a witch.
Yeah.
And, I watched a special on cannibalism not too long ago.
Okay.
As I am wont to do.
Sure, yeah.
And it was in Papua New Guinea. And these guys were talking about, this is the 20th century, this was happening, and these guys, they would go, and if they had a bad season or couldn't get enough food or anything, they would suspect a neighboring tribe of having a witch or warlock or, just a magic user, a shaman.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
A magic user. I mean, obviously, I'm like showing my D&D roots there. A magic user.
Right.
But there would be some kind of magician or a sorcerer, I think is a better term.
Or whatever, yeah.
In the other town that was causing them to have a bad.
I see.
So,
someone to place the blame on.
right. Because if that tribe was having a good year and this tribe was having a bad year,
they clearly did
obviously,
something.
It was the warlock that stole the mojo. Well, what they would do back in Papua New Guinea is they would go and they would capture that person, bring him back, and eat him.
Oh, no.
And that's just that's how they dealt with business.
Wow. So I was thinking you were going to say that the neighbor, like his plow disappears or something and it shows up at your farm and you're just like, I don't know. It must have been Tompton.
Must have been
I
that
didn't do
Tompton
it.
guy, Sven, the Tompton. Well, the thing is, they traditionally give porridge. They bring porridge over to the burial mound at Christmas time. And so that's a little Christmas gift for the Tompton, the little gnome that helps out your farm and hinders other people's farms.
At Christmas time.
Yes. But he'll do that all year round.
Oh, I see. So the tradition is the Christmas tradition to
Christmas
take care of him.
Is to do something nice for your Tompton. I mean, that's probably kind of like how they leave out the chair for the prophet Elijah, and there's a Jewish holiday where they do that. So it's like a little idea of honoring your ancestors or holding on to that tradition.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a tale where a Norwegian maid decides to eat the porridge herself instead of taking it to the Tompton, and then he beats her.
Gosh.
So the thing is, like, have you eaten the porridge for the Tomta? You have to dance with him now. And that's...
Yeah, dance.
Right. So that's...
Man, that must be some good porridge.
Right. It's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess whenever I've had porridge, like cream of wheat or whatever, like, you're not going to see me, like, risk
like gobbling that down. Right.
Yeah, oh, this is so good. I can't wait. Like, I know I'm going to catch hell for this from the spirit that inhabits the burial mounds on our farm.
But it's worth it because it's so good.
This is really tasty. Put some brown sugar in this cream of wheat. You guys should check this out. Merry Christmas. So, I mean, as we're making our way through Europe, I mean, the Tompton's kind of a cute one.
Yeah.
In the Low Countries. I love saying the Low Countries. And you think of that like Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, where I think that's where all the Hubertys are from.
Really?
I heard that Luxembourg,
your folk,
my folk, the ancestral home.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
Of the Hubertys.
That's pretty cool.
I have no idea if that's true.
Yeah.
But that's just something that somebody was telling me, like, oh yeah, that's Huberty's a very popular name in Luxembourg. And I'm like, sweet. I'd like to be from a country that most people don't know exists. But they have this guy named Black Peter.
Okay.
Zwarte Piet.
Mm-hmm.
And they traditionally, he's said to be black because he's a Moor from Spain.
Okay.
So if you go back to the Middle Ages, before the Middle Ages, the Moors had come up from North Africa into Spain and taken over most of Spain. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Spanish people have darker skin.
Okay.
And until the year 742, like the Moorish expansion was stopped by a guy named Charles the Hammer Martel. Which is, I mean, it's an awesome name for a professional wrestler today.
Right.
It's even better for a tough guy back in 742.
Wow.
So, I mean, because Spain's much closer to Africa than obviously Belgium is.
Right.
So that Moorish expansion, and then the Crusades happened, and then we were fighting the Moors. I mean, the Europeans were fighting the Moors, the West against the Middle East during the Crusades. And so Black Peter was a Moor from Spain. And when they have him in parades, people dress up in blackface.
Okay.
Okay. And so obviously in the United States, that doesn't have a very...
Yeah, that's a bit
that is a no-no.
Frowned upon.
To dress up, as somebody...
Right.
Probably because...
They still do that there?
Well, yeah, but they don't have the cultural thing. Like, so we had white entertainers in the early part of the 20th century dress up in blackface and do caricatures of African Americans. And they don't have that tradition in Belgium. They just have the tradition of like, well, we fought the Moors kind of thing. And so he's part of the annual feast of St. Nicholas. And he's the same kind of thing as everybody else. So Black Peter comes in and, well, if you're bad, he'll beat you. Like, that's the thing.
The theme is continuing.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so, like, in some of the traditions, it's like Black Peter may not be a Moor, he might be a devil. And so St. Nicholas had conquered this devil.
Oh, okay.
And he had indentured him as a servant.
I see. Okay.
You know, you work for me now. I've conquered you, and it's your job to dole out the punishments.
Again, with the good cop, bad cop.
Right.
Saint Nick. Man.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's kind of like Krampus, but just everybody has their own version of the Punisher.
Yeah, that's exactly what it...
And it makes me like, why don't we have a Punisher in the United States? I mean, we have the Punisher, the comic book character, but why don't we have a Punisher? Like, is it because that doesn't sell?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Yeah.
Like, we have this whole thing where you buy presents for everybody on Christmas, and December is the whole reason that most of our stores are even open.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, because all the profits
Black
made in
Friday.
December. Right. And right, what if they called it Black Peter Friday? And then they just sold like whips and switches and stuff. Like, I would wait in line for Black Peter Friday.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible.
Yeah. And so, because before Sinterklaas, before their St. Nicholas, he would do out the punishments himself. Okay, so he used to be the bearer of bad news or whatever.
Okay.
So they would bring that bad cop in there so he could kind of outsource the beatings. And that's a little bit of what they did. So Black Peter, and you know, there are some people now that find the cultural appropriation of dressing yourself in blackface and as a Moor and stuff like that as kind of not
it's inappropriate.
Yeah, it's not inappropriate for a 21st century celebration.
Right.
We're more of a global world. And then other people say like it's a harmless tradition from the the Middle Ages and stuff. So maybe they don't have to like put the makeup on or something. And
just... Plus, there's plenty of other mean characters to choose from.
I was going to say, I mean, monsters are great. But talking about, we've gone from Germany, France, Austria, Scandinavia, the Low Countries. And, well, let's talk about a place where it is dark all the time in this time, and that's Iceland.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So, I mean, Iceland's an isolated place in between the United States and Europe. I mean, North America. Actually, you can walk between the continental shelves.
That's cool.
So you can walk on the Eurasian continental shelf, and then you can walk on the North American continental shelf. There's a little bridge, actually, between the two continents.
That's
in Iceland.
cool.
I went on it, and it was pretty fun. What? I mean, just because I was like, hey, look, I'm in North America. Hey, look, I'm in Europe.
Look at me now. I'm over here. Now look at me.
That's really about the exciting part of it. It's like crossing the Continental Divide in Colorado or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Or standing in the four corners.
Yep.
Or like one of those types of...
It's like, hey, look, I'm in Arizona. Hey, look, I'm in New Mexico. Hey, look, I'm in the desert. So in Iceland, it's like, hey, look, I'm in the middle of the ocean. And the thing is, I mean, it was a small population. Right now, Iceland's like 300,000 people.
Wow.
So you can picture what it's like in the Middle Ages when you have maybe 10,000, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
It's just a really small colony. So they have a pretty hard life there.
Yeah.
Number one, because you don't see a lot of trees in Iceland because it's all volcanic rock. Volcanic rock means no arable soil. No arable soil means you're out of luck for trees. I hope you like fish, basically. So Iceland has some monsters associated with Christmas itself. Harsh landscape, harsh legends. One of them being the Yule cat.
That sounds cute.
Okay, the Yule cat does sound like, he's a little tabby
no, here
cat
it comes.
that cuddles with you and everything when it's time for Christmas, like maybe by that Yule log
like
fire.
Purring. Meow.
The name is Jólaköttur. Okay? Jólaköttur. A huge and vicious cat sent to lurk about the snowy countryside during Christmas time, and he eats people who haven't received any new clothes.
That's not cute.
So this is another thing. The parents will say to the kids, if you haven't gotten any new clothes yet, well, you better watch out because the Yule cat is going to come and eat you alive. Why would he do that? Well, because if they haven't finished their weaving, if they haven't finished making their clothes,
okay,
well, that means it's going to be a cold winter. So get your clothes finished so that you can be warm this winter.
So it's a lot like the Frau.
Yeah, Frau Pekta.
Yeah.
Frau Pekta.
Similar kind of thing.
comes and so the demonic Yule cat will come and eat you alive if you haven't finished your clothes. That's just a little warning.
That's
like,
interesting. I mean, because that's one of the only ones that's not like a humanoid.
Right.
You know? I mean, I guess the gnome, the tomten, whatever, but
everybody else is it's like a witch.
Yeah,
it's not a bad person.
They're not like beasts.
Yeah.
You know?
So the Yule but the Yule cat's huge, it's nasty, and just make sure you finish your clothes.
I'll say.
And I just love all these things that parents use to make sure that children behave.
I know, it's so
Okay, I mean, I
terrible.
think of it like the Elf on the Shelf or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody's. I mean, the Elf on the Shelf has made so much money. And did you see there's a thing like somebody volunteered to be the human Elf on the Shelf?
No.
Like you can pay them to come sit at your house.
That's really creepy.
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
Well, probably to scare the crap out of your kids. My cousins had an actual videotape of Santa Claus.
They caught him?
Yeah. So my cousins were one of the first people in the family to get a camcorder in the early 80s, right?
Yeah. Somebody's always got to.
We all go visit at Christmas, and the kid's like, hey, we got Santa Claus on video. Like, really? My dad set up the camcorder the night before so we could get it on video. And
they have it. They have the footage.
Yeah, and they got the footage. And so you see him, like he appears in like a blink, like snaps his fingers.
Oh, that's funny.
Like puts the presents under the tree and then just disappears.
Cool. We always wanted to do that.
And it's in their house.
Yeah.
You always wanted it?
Oh, yeah. My sister and I, as soon as we had the video camera, it was like, can we set up the camera and, record? Mm-hmm. And I don't know why we never, I can't remember the rationale for us not actually being able to do it, but
I think when I wanted to set up a tripwire or whatever for Santa, because you could hear them, you could still you set up a tripwire with cans or whatever, and then like Santa comes through the chimney because Saint Nick came through.
Trying to trap him or something.
Saint Nick came through the keyhole. Santa comes down the chimney.
Yeah.
But I wanted to set up a bunch of stuff in front of the chimney so we'd hear him come and then I could see him.
Yeah.
But my mother just
catch him in the act.
Yeah, my mom just said like it wouldn't work. She's like, well, it won't work because he won't be caught. You'll never see him.
Oh, I think that might have been one of the reasons we got. I can't remember. I thought it was something to the effect of, if you set up a camera, he won't come. Right, he's shy or something like that.
That's
like
the kind of thing. And so I was like, it won't like.
And the threat of him not coming was well worth not
trying
what,
he's not going to come if we try to catch him.
Like, I'm not going to risk not getting presents just to try to prove something here.
Just for something, just to get some Santa Claus. But Santa Claus on video would be huge because then you could take it to all your friends and be like, guys, for real, Santa was at my house. Yeah, I don't believe you. I got the tape.
It's like those paranormal investigation programs where you're like, I just want to see something that's really good, really compelling, clearly not faked. And every time I
could tell their videotape when I was 7 years old was clearly not faked.
Well, see, so they have evidence.
Yep, it was just about as good as the Ghost Hunters. So it was funny, but I always thought that was a fun videotape that they had Santa.
That's pretty cool.
But let's get back to Iceland a little bit. All right, so Iceland has a mythical giantess who lives in the mountains. And so Grilla is her name, Grilla. She's been around since at least the 14th century. And she's linked to Christmas in the 17th century as the Christmas Ogress.
Ooh.
Okay? So, I mean, she detects children who are misbehaving year-round, and at Christmas time, she comes from the mountains to search nearby towns for her meal. She leaves her cave and hunts for children. Then she devours the children as her favorite snack. Her favorite dish is a stew of naughty kids, and she's always hungry. According to legends, there's never a shortage of food for Grilla. And, she's also been married 3 times. Yeah,
wow.
So Grilla gets married. Like someone's like, you know what? I know she eats children. It's kind of like that woman that was going to marry Charles Manson.
Right.
Or whatever.
It's like, well, everybody has little bad habits. I mean,
she eats kids.
I can look past it. I love her.
Right. She's really sweet.
Yeah, she eats kids, but you know what? She's got a good heart.
You don't know her the way I know her. So she's been married 3 times, and her third husband, Lepaludu, is said to be living with her in their cave in the lava fields. Oh, and the Yule cat lives with him. That's one of the legends.
That's kind of cool.
Is that Yule cat's there too?
I like it when they group up like that.
Yeah, it's like a team.
Yeah,
it's like the
superheroes,
team of children eaters. Well, she's got sons too, 13 of them, the Yule lads, and they come on each of the days of Christmas.
Oh, okay.
And they will come and they'll bring little gifts if you're good, and they'll bring beatings if you're not. And so the Yule lads, there's Sheep Coat Claude, whose Icelandic name is Stelka Jarstor, and he harasses sheep, but is impaired by his stiff peg legs. So he is a legless sheep harasser.
Oh man,
and he comes on the first day of Christmas. Then there's Gully Gawk, the second day. He hides in gullies, waiting for an opportunity to sneak into the cowshed and steals milk. That's the milk stealer on the second day. The third day is Stubby.
Oh no.
Stufjor, abnormally short, steals pans to eat the crust left on him. So he's the kind of guy that steals pans to eat the crust left on him. Okay.
He's really hungry.
Stubby. Spoon Licker.
They're all really hungry.
Pjorfsliker. Well, it's because their mom only eats kids. He steals spoons with wooden spoons with long handles, is extremely thin due to malnutrition. So I think I saw him in one of those Save the Children commercials. Pot scraper steals leftover from pots. Potsgefühl. Bowl licker hides under the bowl licker hides under beds, waiting for someone to put down their askur.
Well, him and Spoon Licker should team
work
up
together, right? Because they'll leave the spoon in the bowl. You lick the bowl, I'll lick the spoon.
Let's get out of here.
Both lick under both hide on the bed. The door slammer likes to slam doors at night. The Hurtskeller. Skur Gobbler is a Yule lad with an affinity for skyr. Okay, skyr is a kind of like Icelandic yogurt.
Oh, okay.
Like a treat. They used to give it to you on Iceland Air. So the first time I went to Iceland Air when the country was rich, it was awesome. Like the food was awesome. You get the skyr, it was delicious. The second time, no food,
not so much.
Just cold looks.
Aww.
The sausage swiper. Yeah, watch out for Björnakrucker. He'd hide in the rafters and snatch sausages that were being smoked. So if you're smoking sausages up there,
what a jerk.
The sausage swiper would steal them. The window peeper.
There's always got to be one who likes to watch.
Gluggagear was a voyeur who would look through windows in search of things to steal.
That might be the creepiest one.
Right, the window peeper. Like he comes on December 21st, so he's coming tonight. The doorway sniffer has an abnormally large nose and an acute sense of smell, which he uses to locate bread. Gare Pufur, the doorway sniffer. The meat hook. He uses a hook, he steals your meat. Kret Crooker. And then on Christmas Eve comes the candle stealer. Follows children in order to steal their candles. Which in those days were made of tallow, a type of fat. And so they were edible. So the candle stealer, Kurtznecker, would sneak up behind you and eat your tallow candles.
Man, that is a motley crew, and that's a hungry crew.
Yeah, that's a hungry crew of Icelandic Yule lads.
Yeah.
Their mother, her mother's husband, and then the cat. And they're all hungry all the time. So that's just a little bit of our Christmas monsters. This year you can thank Jesus that the Christmas monsters hopefully aren't going to come for you.
That's right.
So as long as you're behaving, but if you have kids and want to use them to behave,
you've got so many to choose from now.
So many traditions throughout the world that you can have a multi-ethnic kind of Christmas.
Threat.
Yeah, a multi-ethnic Christmas threat. And we hope that we helped you out a little bit.
All right. After talking so much about those nasty and horrific villains of Christmas time, we wanted to leave you on a more cheerful note since, after all, 'tis the season. So in the spirit of the upcoming holiday, and along with our wishes to you for a wonderful Yuletide, today's featured song is Sunspot's take on the Christmas classic, Santa Baby.
Baby, slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa baby, a 54 convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa honey, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Think of all the fun of all the fellas that I haven't kissed. Next year I could be stuffing the ring. And I don't mean on the phone, Santa baby. So hurry down the chimney tonight. Yeah, hurry down the chimney tonight. So hurry down the chimney tonight. Yeah, hurry down the chimney tonight.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. You can find us online at othersidepodcast.com. Until next time, see you on the other side.
Who kills kids?
Father Whipper does.